perfect for that dark and stormy night, my chili recipe is easy and satisfying. A hearty, warming one-pot meal. Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode of Let's Celebrate TV. I'm your host, Peter Lee. On this channel, we teach you all about celebrating. We show you recipes for food, hors d'oeuvres, cocktails, and we share some entertaining tips too. Now we try and keep everything really simple, especially for those of you who say you can't cook or entertain, because we know you can. So if you like this episode, hit that like button, and hit that subscribe button, and you can watch a new episode every single week. Today, our celebration is an old family recipe. Now you look around, you know what time of year it still is. It's Halloween, and I'm just getting more and more excited. This weekend is our party, and I'm making a dish. I'm making my chili recipe. So let's get started cooking. By the way, you see I have a co-star here. I actually have two with me. This is my friend Lance and his partner Ken is here, and they're here to help us with the party this weekend. And Lance is going to learn how to cook my chili. So first, we're going to turn this little burner on. Now I've already preheated this. Let's get it right back. So let's start with the meat. Now in my pot, my good old Dutch oven here, I have a little bit of oil just heating up to help it along. I'm using my meatloaf mix that I use a lot, which is pork, beef, and veal. You can use any one of these, you can use any combination, or you can even use ground turkey. I really like this mix. I think it has a good flavor. So we're just going to start this browning right in the pot. Impeccably clean hands, as always. Alrighty.
You just hear it sizzle away.
Now while Lance stirs this and helps it brown along, like I said, we always had this on Halloween when I was growing up. Chili is a great warming meal, and my mother could make it a day in advance or so, and then just heat it up on Halloween night to fill our little bellies and get us all warm when we came home from trick-or-treating in the cold. Simple recipe, few more ingredients than maybe you're used to seeing me use, but you know what? It's all done in one pot, and it's delicious. So we're just going to stir this and brown. This is going to take maybe about 10 minutes. Now once it's brown, we're going to remove the meat to a bowl, and we're going to drain off any extra fat that is rendered out of it. Okay, it's been about 7 minutes, and our meat is all browned. Now we're going to remove this from the pan. We're going to put it in another bowl, and we'll drain off the excess fat that's rendered out of it. Alrighty, now you see our meat is brown and I've drained it. I'm just going to put this aside for a moment. Now the fun part, in my pan that's still nice and hot, I left a little bit of the fat reserved. Now we're going to brown our vegetables. In this big bowl, I have a very large onion and 4 stalks of celery that I just sliced, and the onion is just a very rough chop. This is going to go right in. Simple. What do I always tell you? Season your layers, so a little bit of salt and pepper. Tiny bit of salt. And some pepper. Give that a little stir. We're going to let this start to brown. Again, it'll take just a few minutes, and that's fine. So we'll just give this a moment. I have all kinds of other ingredients here. So while these are going down, what's happening is we're sweating the vegetables, and that salt is pulling the liquid out. It's cooking them down, and it's making the flavor more intense. Now these have been going for a few minutes. Let's start adding the other ingredients. Garlic. I have about 4 cloves here. You can use more, you can use less. These are 4 very large cloves, right in. I like to add this after the other vegetables because otherwise it'll burn too quickly and we don't want burned garlic. I wish you could smell this. I really do.
It smells great.
Delicious.
You know what'd be good right now? A glass of wine to help us do all this. And here's Ken with our wine. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ken.
Lovely. Okay. Back to work. Chili powder. I have 2 tablespoons. Now this is not going to make it hot. A lot of people hear chili powder and think it's hot. It's going to add a depth of flavor and a little bit of smokiness, and it gives chili that certain flavor right in. Why am I putting this in now? I want these spices to start toasting along with the vegetables. Next up, smoked paprika, about 2 tablespoons. Again, it's going to add a great smokiness and a great depth of flavor. You scrape that out and get all of that in there. All right, there we go.
I wish you could smell this. It smells wonderful right now.
Next up, ground coriander. Right in. About a tablespoon. Now these seems like a lot, but this is going to make a lot of chili, and we want these bold flavors to come through. Now I've been telling you, season your layers, and we put some stuff in, and we haven't added any more salt. We're adding some now. This is a teaspoon of celery salt. And the difference is the celery salt has that extra flavor to it that's just going to, again, add to the layers of flavoring. Right in. Now I have a little more vegetables. I have some green bell peppers. I have 2 large bell peppers that I have in a rough dice here. I didn't want to put them right in right away because I don't want them to cook down and disintegrate. But now's a good time to put them in. So what's going to start happening? All these vegetables are going to start releasing their liquid. Now, if you can see in the pan is starting to look a little burned, and that's okay. That's all those spices and all those flavors. That stuff on the bottom of the pan is called fond, and it's flavor. It's important. All right, so we've given this. Everything's cooking away. We're going to add the meat back. This, by the way, was about 2 pounds of ground meat. Right in. This smells like memories to me. And it smells like a celebration. Alrighty. Now, a couple more things to add before we let it simmer. I have tomatoes. I like these fire roasted tomatoes, 2 cans. Use whatever tomatoes you like, but the fire roasted really adds more depth of flavor, and that's what it's all about. Right in. Now I've drained these and I've reserved liquid because I may not want all that liquid to start. Now here in this container, I have my tomato liquid. I have here 2 cans of kidney beans. Now I know there's a whole debate about whether chili has beans or not. My mother always added beans. I like it that way. Makes it heartier, so I use them. But again, I've drained them. I've reserved all that liquid together into the pot. Why did I reserve that? This is going to be a thick chili, but I don't like it so thick that it's like a big paste. So while this simmers, I'll keep an eye on it and I will add some of this as I need to. But I don't want to just dump it all in all the way because I may not need it. One more thing to add at this point. I have here 2 tablespoons of my favorite hot sauce, which is Crystal hot sauce. This is going to add a little heat and a little bit of vinegar, so there's some tartness. Some people like Tabasco. I like Crystal hot sauce. Right in. Now it's not going to be so spicy that it blows your palate away, but there's going to be a warmth and a heat to it that just makes you warm on the inside out.
Yes, you can smell a little bit of the vinegar that you poured that in.
Okay. So we're going to put the lid on. We're going to turn this low, and we're just going to let this simmer for 3 or 4 hours. You can let it go all day. Now, The magic of television. I started one of these earlier. I've have it on my back burner simmering away. Alrighty, here we are. We're ready for my favorite part. We're going to be tasting. So you notice I have here, we had a purple pot before, and now I have a teal one. This is one that I made earlier, and this has been simmering on my stove all day and making my house smell wonderful. So Lance, if you would take the cover off and get rid of it. Beautiful. Lovely. Now, let's give it a little stir.
Oh, that smells wonderful, Pete.
So it's thick. It's not pasty. It's not soup-like either. It's nice and thick and hearty. Something we're going to add right now. I used some ground coriander seeds. Now I'm going to use a couple tablespoons of fresh cilantro right here at the end. You add this at the end because you want that freshness, that last little pop of flavor when you eat this. So putting it at the end, it's just kind of wilt it down a little bit, and it's going to release all the flavor and aroma. Of course, those of you who don't like cilantro, you can leave it out. You can use parsley. So let's do a quick taste. If you would ladle some of that in here.
Oh, isn't that wonderful looking?
Nice and colorful. That's good. Okay. Now, people like stuff on their chili. Corn chips, sour cream, grated cheese. I have a little grated cheese here. Lovely on the top. Maybe
A dollop.
just a dollop. We'll do a dollop. There we go. Now let's grab our wine, the most important part of the tasting. We're almost.
You can't go and taste without wine.
So let's have a quick taste. This is going to be very hot.
I want to taste.
Of course he wants to taste. Don't burn yourself. What do you think?
Wow,
That's
this
pretty
is
good, huh?
amazing.
Nice
Pretty
and
good.
smoky.
I love the smokiness of
Yeah.
this.
All right. That's our chili recipe based on my mother's recipe with my own little spin on it. Here we go. So this is our recipe. As always, I'm going to have this recipe up in the comment section of YouTube with all the ingredients and measurements. Now, as always, follow us on youtube.com/Let's Celebrate TV. Follow us on Facebook too, facebook.com/Let's Celebrate TV. Okay, instead of a question of the day, I've got another tip of the day for you. Entertaining tips. When you are setting up your buffet for your party, whether it be Halloween or even a birthday party, set your buffet up the night before. On all of your dishes, use a little sticky note and write on it what you want to put on that plate. So that way you can play with it and have it all laid out, and you won't forget when it comes time to set up for the party. So that's our show today. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Peter Lee. We'll see you next Tuesday at 7 p.m. And happy Halloween.
Happy
Cheers.
Halloween. Thank you.